What was the first horse you bought? Do you remember? Oh, the first horse that instilled the passion that has set you up to where you are now.
Well, because I bought those broodmares and sold the first 3 and did well, gets me going. So then I started to think, I'll get a bit bigger in this, and so I'm going to grow this business, and which I did. In those days, if you wanted to buy a stallion, you waited till they finished racing and you went and bought a stallion, the horse that was a pretty good racehorse. So I decided, I was the first guy in the world, to my knowledge. I bought a horse called Gypsy Kingdom when he was in work, and to buy him as a stallion, and I syndicated him into 40 shares, and no one had ever done that. And then a couple of other people followed me a year or 2 later. Then I found a horse called Best Western. I did exactly the same thing with him. I bought him for $1 million, syndicated him. I had a value of $6 million on him 1 year later. And so I was the first guy in the world. Now everyone does it for the last umpteen years, but that was in 1977. So that was a groundbreaking thing in breeding of horses. And then I went on a race club board for 5 years as a director, and that was a good experience.
It's quite a strange way of doing it, isn't it? Because normally you own horses, then you might get one that will get you into breeding if you're on flats, whereas you've sort of started at breeding. So is that where, would you still say that's your biggest passion, is the breeding side of it?
Well, it's interesting because when we bought Magic Millions, there was Singleton and Ferguson and me. And I'm trying to figure out why we all love our horses. We've all been very successful in our lives. And what is it with horses that why we're quite different? Singo's a big better. Breeding comes second, but racing and betting and then Ferguson, he can tell you the colours on a horse that won the Epsom in 1974 or something. He's got this photographic memory. What's the point of knowing that? I've got another mate of mine that can tell you the number plate of every car that everyone's got. What's the point of that? I don't want to go there because it's useless information. But some people have this great memory, and they have different reasons why they're in the racing business. But then I'm more into breeding, and I'm into buying and selling because I'm a retailer. They're not retailers. One's an advertising guy, the other's a merchant banker. So when I come to a horse sale, I want to talk to everyone here. I'm there with my horses, you walk along talking to you about my horses. Whereas Singo would rather sit in
you're a salesman, aren't you?
Yeah, but he'd sit in there, in the auditorium, and just keep having a beer and buying a horse on every second beer. When I first went to the races, one of the things that attracted me in the really early days, I'm a 19-year-old when I first go. I loved you go to the races, there's pickpockets there, and there's urges. I thought, this is good. So I'm hanging on to my money all the time because a bloke's going to pick my pocket. I'm a 19-year-old. Yeah. And you know what an urger is? No one's an urger anymore, but in those days you'd always have these really smart guys coming up to you and they'd say, I've got a winner for you. And you say, what do you got? And they'd go on about how this horse and tell you a whole heap of bullshit about it. And then if it lost, you'd never see them. But if it won, they'd be back there getting their,
Getting a cut.
Their cut. Oh, I love the urges and the pickpockets.
So they're now tipsters now, urges really.
Yeah, they're tipsters, right? But the races was, you'd go there and there were all sorts of funny people there. So this is great. When you're a 19-year-old, the world's out there and you've got to meet everyone, So you go to the races, and in those days, everyone went to the races.